Hey, what up YouTube? Welcome back. All right, in this video I want to talk about light skinned and biracial people who claim a black identity but who are who date outside the community, are marry outside the community, and or have children outside of the community, right? So yeah, light skinned and biracial people who claim black identities. Again, so this is for those who claim black identities, right? So if you don't claim a black identity, then this doesn't apply to you, all right? But yeah, I want to talk about that for a quick moment, um, because I have been noticing some things, right? And pretty much what I want to say is, I think that, and this may sound a little controversial, it may rub some people the wrong way, but I'm just going to say it. All right, just put it out there. Do you think that for light-skinned and biracial people who claim black identities, do you think part of a stipulation of them having their quote-unquote black card, right, is them dating inside the community and having children with people inside the community, right? Because after all, they're claiming a black identity. So since they are black, or at least black identified, shouldn't they be dating other black, or at least black identified people? I personally think that yes, they should. I think that should be a criterion for dating, or for your black card, is dating, marrying, procreating with people who are black, thus perpetuating blackness, right? I Is that really I think that should be for all people in the community, honestly, if you want to have maintain your blackness. But I'll put especially for light skinned and biracial people. I do think that that should be like a stipulation, right? And some people may be asking, oh, why do you think that? Should it really matter? Well, yes, it does matter. First of all, yes, it does matter. And I think it especially matters when it comes to light-skinned and mixed-race people. And I think that it matters because we want to see, if we're black and we're all identifying as black, I think we want to see this. We should all want to see blackness perpetuated. We should want to see blackness, live on, right? But I'll say that, being a light-skinned or mixed-race person, a biracial person, and having a child with, say, a white person, right? How do you think that child is going to look? Let's be honest. Do you think that child is going to be the next Kuta Kinte? Let's be honest. Like Meghan Markle's and Prince Henry's future child. How do you think their child is going to look? Let's be honest, right? How does Halle Berry's child look, or children look? How does Ben Harper's children look, especially his? I'm like, I don't see not a lick of black in them kids, right? Shoot, how do we see Paula Patton's child with Robin Thicke? That kid looks whiter than Robin Thicke does. Like, where did all that whiteness come from? All right. Quincy Jones's daughter, Rashida Jones. How does she look, right? And there's many more examples that I could go into, but those are just the ones that are on the top of my, that were on the top of my head that I could talk about. But think about it though, like it's almost like once that light-skinned person goes white, or that biracial light-skinned person goes white, it's like it kind of, blackness is pretty much erased, at least phenotypically, right? And then it gets complicated because the light-skinned or biracial child, or rather the light-skinned or biracial parent, oftentimes want to have the children claim a black identity, which I think is really odd because it's like, well, if you wanted a black child, you should have had had a child with someone who, I don't know, is black. All these beautiful black people in our community, you couldn't find one to have a child with, or to marry and have a child with, preferably. I find that really interesting because then it gets me to thinking, okay, what do you think about blackness, right? It really gets me to think, especially when I say Halle Berry, for example, right? It's like, because she has dated like a variety of men, you know, and I'm not saying she can't or can't, I'm just saying, right? It's her life; she can do what she wants, right? But I'm saying, look who she had her children with. Look who she decided to have her children with, though, right? She didn't choose a monoracial black man, or even a biracial black man. She chose she chose white men to have her children, right? And that kind of gets me to side eye a little bit, And also, she tends to, it's like, oh, I see my child is black, right? It's like you going outside the community to have your kids, but you want to bring your kids back into the community. When if you just had a child with someone in the community, we wouldn't even have to go through this, right? And it's not to point out Halle Berry only, because she's not the only person who's doing it, but she's just the best example in the media that I can go to. But both the men and the women do it. I'm not just singling out the women. And as well, it gets me to sort of thinking like, okay, what do you think about black people, right? Do you really have as positive of a view of black people as you lead people to think you do, right? I think these are things that we should be taking into consideration, and not just with light-skinned and biracial people. I think with black people in general, but I'm kind of am calling out the light-skinned and mixed race folk, biracial, mixed race, multiracial, etc. Right? And again, many times these people want to have their children outside of the community, but bring them back into the community, thus perpetuating colorism. Now we have this whole new dynamic first, because it's already complicated enough with just the light skin and dark skin, but now we have like this white passing person in the community, which totally switches things up now, right? And it just gets really complicated, right? And also, some of these people want to be all pro-black, but if you're going to be a pro-black light-skinned person or a pro-black mixed person, you really, really, really need to have a black person as, a marriage partner and the parent of your child. Uh, Preferably a monoracial black person, honestly. And I know people are going to feel some type of a way about this video, but I think we got to really just start really upping the ante to a certain extent. I don't think that's the best phrase, but really having higher standards and criteria. All right, we can't just be. I think we as black people tend to kind of accept a lot of things that we shouldn't, to put it lightly. And I'll say that I think the women, the light-skinned and biracial women, tend to stay in the community a little more than the men do. Um, and I know, to be honest and to be fair, there are some issues, like that's a very nuanced situation that really is more to it than meets the eye, right? But, it still needs to be addressed, though. And also when it comes to the kids, like people, they want to put, force blackness on this kid, but this kid has a parent who's not black, who they may identify with or want to identify with, which you introduced to them, right? This is your fault. So you're putting this blackness on your kid now, right? Like, oh my, and then they often want their kids to marry black, right? Marry black people, even though you couldn't do it. So you're putting like an expectation on your child to perpetuate blackness, but you couldn't perpetuate blackness and live up to that expectation. Basically, low-key, they just want their children to clean up their mess, to be honest, you know. But I think I've said all I have to say. I don't want to make this video too long, but I just wanted to just throw that out there. I know some people are going to feel some type of way about that, and I think that that's good. That's, it's good to get that type of reaction, because then it gets you to thinking, and then it gets you to analyzing yourself, right? Because I do think that that could be like a low-key subtle form of anti-blackness, but still they want to hang on to the black identity, but make it so that it's a little more palatable, right? Quote unquote, has a better look to it, right? And that's why I'll put the question out there. Do you think it's asking too much for any black person, really? But I'll keep it to light-skinned folks. Well, for light-skinned and biracial people who claim black identities, do you think it's asking too much for them to marry, date, and have children with, etc., with black people? Do you think that's asking too much? Do you think that, we're being too harsh on them for asking that? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, you guys. Adios and goodbye for now.